Hey everybody, it's Romania Black. So we're in episode 23 of Seraph of the End. In the last episode, things happened. Basically, Mika finally drank some human blood. Of course it was used. And now he's a full-fledged vampire. But that's okay, because Yu is going to protect him because he's family. And so there we go. And also Mika has decided that, humans are still bad, but maybe not Mitsuba and Shinoa's squad. Maybe those guys are okay and all this. And when we last left off, all of the remaining Demon Corps members of the Demon Army, they showed up at the airport. There was nothing waiting on them. I think it was all just a giant trap to lure them there. And Kureto's going to show up with Kimizuki's sister, who's a weapon now. He's going to react great to that. And the vampires are all coming to it. It's just closing in. It's these last two episodes I feel are going to be a big battle. And then it's going to cut off in a cliffhanger. And then, of course, because like anime do, we're not going to get a second season of the anime. Wow. Thanks. Unless they somehow wrap things up and say we'll go to from here and then we don't get a second season. But luckily that's where I'm catching up with the manga. And so I have started reading the manga. As I'm recording this episode, I'm up to chapter 13, which is right where season 1 ended, or the first core ended. So my goal is to kind of catch up this next week and read the other chapters. When I was going into this, I saw that there were 114 chapters online. I was like, that's not very many. And then I started reading and was like, oh, these chapters are like Attack on Titan where they're 50 pages a chapter. I see. So I was like, oh, wow. Yeah, so each volume is probably only going to be 3 chapters or 4 chapters at the most. Okay, that makes sense. So yeah, I am going to start catching up with the manga and reacting to it on here after episode 24, which will be next week. So the following week, we'll start with that. And so hopefully by then I will be caught up and we can talk about it. But I do want to talk about everything leading up to chapter 13 with you all real quick, specifically with volume 3 that ended with chapter 11 and talking about chapter 12 going into volume 4 of the manga, because there were some things talked about that I was like, anime didn't talk about this. I feel like we should bring it up. So I'm not considering it a spoiler, even though the anime hasn't touched base on it, because I'm reading the canon manga. I'm covering content the anime's already covered. So I am going to talk about it. It does relate to the novel that you all were telling me about, the light novel. I don't know if the light novel has an English translation or not. I can't remember if somebody in the Discord or on Patreon has mentioned it, but I don't know if it has an English translation. So I feel like maybe one day as I'm reading the manga, I will catch up with the light novels, but I don't know if that's going to happen or not. But with volume 3, chapter 11 ended it, and it talked about the equipment before the apocalypse, saying that and this was in the last year depicted in Guren Ichinose's Catastrophe Volume 16. So I heard there's 16 light novels, insanity, and it's detailed in the last one, so it's like a flashback. But I'm like, okay, the mangaka clearly thought that we needed to know this going into the next volume, so might as well talk about it now. And that kind of relates to when the second course started. It felt like we were just jumping through exposition. It's because the manga probably deals with it and the anime chose to skip over it. So I'm like, okay. But basically 8 years ago, there were 2 competing systems of magic. The compendium of traditional magic that was espoused by the religious group, the Emperor's Demons, led by the Hiragi family. Imagine that, the Hiragi family being a religious group, the leaders of a religious cult dealing with a compendium of traditional magic. Fitting. And the other was a hybrid system of world magic put forth by another religious group, the Hyakuya sect, which is where Mika and Yu is from. And so the cursed gear was developed by genius spellcaster Machihiru Hiragi. I was like, okay, so we're getting into Guren, and they called her Guren's lover. So I'm like, okay, so it wasn't one-sided maybe. Guren may have loved her. Okay, interesting. But the cursed gear was developed by Mahiru, which was Shinoa's sister. And it says once it was able to be mass-produced, the old compendium of the Hiragi family was quickly in disuse. So basically, because of the Hiragi daughter, Mihiru, they basically kind of outdated all the Hiragi family's old practices, and they started to adopt the cursed gear instead to fight vampires. All right, so the new invention made it capable to fight vampires on a better scale. So the Cursed Gear, the Black Demon series, as I understand it, are the OG Cursed Gear series, the most strong to take out vampires. And then they started mass producing them in these downgraded versions that most of the Demon army troops use. So the Curse Gear standard issue Curse Gear, weapons with demons sealed inside of them. And before the apocalypse, this method could not be done, but now it can be. There's been several experiments conducted before it was made possible. So the experiments conducted on you and Mika were just trying to help advance that Curse Gear and get it to where it could destroy the vampires. Gee, fun how that all turned out, right? And apparently something happened that killed most of the adults from that experiment. We shall see. I'm guessing we'll get more of that in the manga as we go, and maybe in these last 2 episodes of the anime, more of that will come out. But yeah, so that was all that they really talked about. It was just enough to get you enticed and tease you with it and be like, wait, what's happening? And now you have to read. So I'm hoping as I catch up and read through chapters 13 and get into the second core, I'm going to try to get that finished before episode 24, but if not, get as far as I can before watching next week's episode, and then I'll have to catch up before starting where we pick up at. But hopefully we'll find out more, and so I'll have more notes there. But I did want to make note that in chapter 12, they're actually on the battlefield in the manga, not in the truck transporting there. The manga kind of makes things happen in a different arrangement. But Yoichi in the manga is very hesitant on quote unquote relying on pills and all. So I really liked that Yoichi was really hesitant and didn't want to use the pills at first. And I'm glad that the manga noted that. So, like I said, I'll be catching up. I'll read chapters 13 and see how far I get before recording the season finale of the anime. But then I'll finish reading and we'll pick up whatever volume we leave off with. We'll start that back up the following week and start catching up with the manga. So I'm excited. I'm reading Yona of the Dawn. I'm going to be catching up with Seraph at the End. I'm going to be catching up with Ace of the Diamond. I'm going to be reading a lot of manga this summer, and that's okay. I'm excited about that. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that because when I got to the end of volume 3, I was like, wait, what? So I felt the need to mention it, but we're going to see what all madness happens in episode 23. We've only got 2 episodes left, y'all, of this anime, and this is the penultimate episode before the season finale. What we going to do? So we're going to find out, right? But let's do that and see what all shakes down. We're going to start episode 23 of Seraph of the End, and we're going to start that here in 3, 2, 1, and let's go. What the hell? Oh man, you know what's gonna suck? We only have 1 episode of the anime left. They can't wrap all this up in 1 episode. There's no way. There is no way they can wrap all this batshit crazy stuff up in 1 episode. No way. That's what sucks the most about all of this is that, like with series like Yona of the Dawn, that series that I'm watching right now, I'm reading the manga now, but the first season of Yona of the Dawn just encapsulated like a prologue. It was a nice prologue to get you used to the characters. The real plot hadn't really kicked off yet. It just got you started and it got you hooked just enough. But then it clearly cut off at a point where you're like, okay, well now they'll start season 2. And then they didn't. And so I'm reading the manga now and you're like, oh, there's so much more. And this series, we're in the thick of a battle and they haven't even introduced Kimizuki's sister into this yet. They've got to do that next episode. There's no way they're going to wrap it all up in one go. So it's not going to end in the next episode, or if it does, it's going to be really, really rushed. And that's what I'm afraid of. I'm afraid they're going to really rush the ending. And so I'm going to have to read the manga now to pick back up and see what happens and to see it all spread out. So what I'm thinking is at this point, before we even start breaking down this madness that was this episode, is I'm definitely going to read up to this point here. And if it is a specific volume that I will just start the manga reactions with that volume that this next episode 24 ends on, and just do that volume and the next one together and just do like that because I want to see it all. I just have a feeling with shows like this that they're going to try to wrap it up in the 1 episode. I'm getting number 6 vibes really hard. And number 6, if you've not seen that anime, the anime itself was only like 11 episodes and they wrapped things up incredibly rushed in that anime. And then when you read the manga, you're like, oh, well, this is a lot more fleshed out. This makes much more sense. So I have a feeling when I get towards, I'm going to look up what volume this storyline, Arrogant Love, the chapter Arrogant Love is in. And that because I've noticed that these are chapter titles as we go. for different chapters in the manga. So whatever volume chapter the chapter on arrogant love is in, I will probably read that volume and the next volume in one reaction the week after this next one with the season finale, just to get the full scope. Because I have a feeling that it's not just going to all wrap up in a nice, neat package. It's going to be messy, and then anime only people, it sucks because then you're like, well, what happens? And then you don't know. Because this ended what? Like in 2018, 2019, earlier than that? I'm going to turn the sound off. But it like what? Ended 2000 whatever? But Arrogant Love. Damn. It was Guren all along. And this thing pulls the Isayama style reveal where Ferid just comes out and says, he's like, oh, it's him. It's been him all along. But he's got a split personality. I was like, oh, it's his personality is wavering between the Guren that is idealistic and kind and all about the Nakama versus the Guren that's being possessed by the demon coming out. That's been my thing this whole series. I was like, the very first part of the core, I was like, Guren just doesn't seem himself. And he's not been. He's been, teetering back and forth between Guren that's human and Guren that's demon. And so at this point, he's like half and half, and the demon side's getting stronger. And I was like, this makes more sense. Why he was like that with you at some times, and then at other times he'd like wishy-wash and go back and forth. I'm like, you're not making sense, sir. No, because his personality is literally being taken over by a demon, and it's affecting him. And Shinya had no clue. I feel so bad for suspecting Shinya in all this. I was like, oh my god, I've like been saying Shinya's the traitor this whole time. He didn't even know about Genya. Kureto knew, but he didn't know. Wow. But Kureto didn't care because as long as he could do the experiment, he didn't care how Guren like got the vampires there as long as it like worked out in his favor in the end. Or at least that's what it seems to be. Now in the next episode, we might find out something totally different. But Kureto was in on it too. Oh my god. I see now a lot of people on YouTube have been saying, someone on Twitter commented that Guren and Shinya was like the tragic grown-up version of you and Mika-san. And I'm like, yeah, no, I get it. Because Shinya having this unwavering love for Guren, just like Mika has this unwavering love for you, and Guren being possessed and slowly taken over by this demon is reminiscent of you, except you seems to have it under control right now. The parallels are there, but oh my gosh. And I don't want to be spoiled because I'm sure the manga, I don't know. Guren seems like he's going to die. Like the red flags are out for Guren, especially with this demon being involved as much as she is. But I don't know. And I don't want to be spoiled. I'm going to read the manga and find out. But oh my God. This episode was bonkers. Arrogant Love, complete batshit bonkers. We need to talk about it. So the whole thing, this series does an amazing job of making you right up until we find out it's absolutely Guren, making you question everyone still questioning Shinya. I was still so suspicious of him. And that punch that Inoue gives on Shinoa just like smacked her. Like you felt that shit. Like some of the animation in this episode, like when Guren does the demonic like zoom, like moving really fast, and Shinoa getting punched in the face, like you felt that. Like it was spot on. I loved it. So I like that Shinya hesitates when getting the order from the Japanese Imperial Demon Army, the order to stand by. Right? Now here's the thing. Guren expected them to follow orders and stand by as well. So Guren was in on it. He was expecting them to go there without the choppers being there. And Shinya stood up for him. He was like, well, Guren's not a part of this. He didn't know what was going on. This is all Kureto. It was Guren too. And it's like Shinya didn't even know. He was assuming the best about Guren. Oh my God. Yeah. And because he's like, it just says stand by, and that's why he gets so freaked out by it. And like he doesn't know what to say. So Shinya, I had suspected Shinya so much throughout all of this, and in the span of 5 minutes, I'm like, wait a minute. No, Shinya's not the one responsible. It's just because, he's just like, it all starts adding up weirdly for him too. And Kureto's his brother technically, so he's like, do I disobey my brother? This seems sketch. This seems like a red flag. Do we Do we stay? Do we stand by and just wait for something to happen? Or do we leave? Like, you can tell Shinya's just working through the motions and trying to figure everything out. And around that time, that's when Shinoa gets the bitch slap of the century by Inoue. And she's like, Yayoi and Kageyama, everyone's dead because of you. And Shinoa just lets her, like, shake her. Because she knows, Shinoa's like, yeah, I know. I know why you're mad. It's fine. I deserve it. Like, she doesn't try to, all she can say is, I'm sorry. Like, that's all she can say. Because, yeah, he's like, why are you kicking still? She's like, it's because of you that all my friends are dead. And she's like, yep. Yeah, that's all she can say. And I love her saying, if you're going to apologize, pay for it with your life. She's like, how does your apology bring back my friends? Like, that is just so sad. And you get exactly where she's coming from in this moment. Yeah, if you're going to apologize so easily, give me back my friends. Oh, damn. I think she still lives to the end of it. I can't believe the one guy, it got pretty brutal there for a second. And I love that, yeah, Narumi and Makoto, Narumi and them, they just try to get her to calm down. And Narumi tries to take her place, being like, no, I'm going to take care of it. I'm not going to let you spill blood. I'm going to kill Shinoa. And then Shinja's like, now hold on a minute. Let's just calm down. That's not your job. And I like that Goshi and Mito are behind him. And then Narumi's like, well, then how are you going to punish them? How are you going to take credit? Like, I just love the back and forth that happens here. Like how are you going to take responsibility? And Shinya tries to play devil's advocate for everybody, being like, it's not our place to punish. We're just supposed to stand here and follow orders. And Narumi's like, well, we followed your orders and now we're here. We've lost our comrades and now we're sitting ducks. So what you gonna do? And everybody's just kind of mulling it over, being like, yeah, what are we going to do? The order from the top is to stand by and wait for our deaths because we can't fight these vampire nobles. Yeah. And when he says, are they telling us to die out here? I'm like, well, back when y'all met at the hangar, Guren kind of said, yeah, that's the whole point. You guys are just sitting ducks for the main battle. He's like, yeah, no, we're the front lines. We probably will die. Like Guren did say that at the beginning. He just didn't leave out the whole part about the whole traitor and making them be sitting ducks part, right? Escape with the chopper and lure the vampires to the trap zone Shinjuku. That was supposed to be our mission. But it wasn't Guren that came up with it. It's like, oh, honey, Shinya wants to believe that Guren's not a traitor so bad. And it's like, yeah, he may not have came up with it, but he knew what was going to go down. And he's like, Lieutenant General Kureto Hiragi was the one that came up with it. And Shinoa was like, shit, my trash family, of course it's shady. And Narumi's like, I'm sick of the Hiragi family abusing their power and giving out orders. Which is funny because as the manga has said from volume 3, the Hiragi family is kind of the originators of this type of like the cursed gear to begin with. So the fact that they're even able to fight is kind of the Hiragi family's is the result of the Hiragi family. So I could see Kureto being like, you all would be dead without us. Like, we're the reason you all are still alive and able to fight in the first place. Like, I can just see him use that line of logic to explain why they should fight for the Hiragi family because they are owed that, right? Mm-hmm. And then, yeah, Narumi's like, we're abandoning this mission. And Shinya's just like, he's like, shut up, Narumi. You're the one who said, listen to your elders. He's like, no, you shut up. And then I like Narumi's like, no, look, we're done. We're done here. He's like, let's get out of here. He's like, we, the Demon Company, will head back and rescue the Colonel. And then I like that Sayuri and her, the other girl, the girl that has Mika as voice actress, they agree that they're like, we're not, this isn't Lieutenant. They're like, as soon as they found out it wasn't Guren's mission, it was Kureto's, they're like, we don't have to follow this. We're going to go back and save him. And it's like, at first, they're like, goodbye, Goshi, Mita, and Shinya. And at first, it's like, and Shigure and Sayuri, they're like, why are they splitting up? Because it seems bad that they're splitting up, right? They have strength in numbers. Splitting up is just going to be a problem. And I think Shinya realizes that. And so I'm really ashamed to say that I really still thought Shinya was the traitor at this point. And I thought that Shinya, whenever Shinoa looks over to him and he's standing there trying to figure everything out, and Shinya's like, and you just see him like with his eyes closed, like contemplating. At that moment, I was like, okay, is Shinya the traitor and he's trying to find a way to make them all stay together so that they can be a target together? But honestly, that doesn't make sense, because if you wanted them to get picked off, you'd want them to be split up because they wouldn't be as strong. And so I think that this is the moment that we, the audience, are supposed to pick up that Shinya is not the traitor, because he wants them all to stay together. He's like, fine, wait, Narumi, and Narumi's like, if you're going to stop me, you're going to have to court-martial me. And he's like, no, let's abandon the mission together. I love it. He's like, let's go rescue Guren together. He's like, if we split up, we're sitting ducks anyway. If we split up, we're weaker. We're going to be easier to pick off. If we all go as a unit together to rescue him, then let's do it. Let's figure it out and let's go. I think that him choosing to go against his brother's orders is Shinya being like, I care more about Guren than I do the mission. Which is kind of related to Mika and you. So it's like, yep, okay. Which I think is why later when you and Mika show up, when they show up later, nobody really at this point is like batting an eye, because they're like, look at all this nonsense. We don't have time to worry about the fact that there's a vampire with us. Look at all this nonsense. And Shinya says, we're going to ignore orders from the top. We're going to ignore my crazy brother and reassemble and go on a mission to rescue Guren Ichinose. And Narumi's like, really? Like, Narumi being so happy, being like, okay, Shinya. And at that point, I'm like, damn. And Yagoshi's like, whoa, all right. And they're all happy about it. And then him looking over at Shinoa and giving her that smile, being like, is that what I should have done? I'm so embarrassed now that I thought Shinya was the traitor all this time. And no, he's really been on everybody's side. What a misdirect. What a misdirect. All those side glances, everything. And you could say that it's because Shinya's known that this mission was actually from Kureto and not Guren the whole time, and Guren was just following orders, or so Shinya thought. So that all the side glances and the weird expressions from Shinya are probably him deciding whether or not it was a good thing to be following them. And now it's like, yeah, what do we do? But yeah, and let's get ready to move. So they're all, and just to know the time frame of this, that as they were planning, as they were having this argument and figuring out that they wanted to abort the mission, as that was happening, then we had all the stuff with Ferid going on and all the stuff with Kureto. Everything, the timeline all kind of syncs up, so that as they are getting their maps out, planning how to go find Guren, that's when everybody shows up. So it was just poor timing. Just bad timing. But we cut back to Crowley, who we don't see Chess and Horn in this, which is interesting. We don't see either of them. We'll see. But yeah, poor Yayoi's dead. And they just had to show us Kageyama with the sword through him. They just had to show us that. Thanks, show. We knew he was dead, but you really wanted to drive it home. And Crowley's like, wow, this is a fight. Huh, well, look at this. I don't see Crowley dying in the next episode, so it's going to be fun having him around. And Krul is giving orders to go find them. And then this guy with the eyeliner, with the sunken-in eyes, is still interrogating Guren. And he has quite the voice. His voice sounds familiar, too. I wanted to comment in the reaction that Guren's eyes are usually that purple shade. And throughout this whole moment of the interrogation, they start getting redder and redder. And I was like, I wanted to comment, but I was like, maybe it's just the lighting of the episode. But Crowley's like, Krul is ordered not to kill him. And so he'll think he's better off dead. Then there's this penguin mofo, this owl guy with the... Is that supposed to be Leskar? Is Leskar supposed to be the one with the mask with the giant top hat and the feather? Is that supposed to be him? The one that looks like the penguin? I feel like that's not Leskar, but his design is quite interesting. But Guren, it hurts and I'm tired. But he's like, if the intel I leak will be more credible if I take more of a beating. So even now, and at the moment you're thinking, okay, Guren's going to lead them away from the airport. Or is he going to lead them to the airport for Kureto's attack? Like, you don't think Guren's the traitor still. You just think, okay, well, he's going to try to lure them away from the others, maybe. I need to somehow get them to Shinjuku. And then this vampire's like, nope, I'm going to keep beating you. And then, of course, Ferid shows up. I love just standing there, hands on his hips cocked out to the side, being the diva man that he is, diva vampire that he is. I find it interesting that you have Crowley and Ferid, and you have Shinya and Kureto. And in both situations in this episode, you have Ferid standing above Crowley, like as a sign of power and knowledge that he knows more than Crowley. And over here, you have Kureto standing above Shinya because he has more knowledge and power in this situation. Like, it's a very nice visual representation, and it happening in the same episode is interesting. But yeah, I love that Crowley just freaking calls him out. He's like, wow, hey, how you doing, Ferid? So, you're a traitor, right? I love that he just calls him out. He's like, yeah, how'd all that intel get leaked? Funny that. And Ferid's like, there's nothing worse than selling out your friends. Why would you think that I would do that? And Crowley's like, well, I don't care about them, but you leaked intel on me. So I thought we were friends. Are we not now? Like, what? What's going on, Ferid? And I love Ferid doesn't deny it. He's like, oh, you are my clique. But he's like, I thought you'd have fun. You're strong. And plus I had to convince him that, it wasn't me by, if I didn't include you, my actual friend, it would look suspicious, right? I just love how open they are. There's no lying there. Ferid's just like, yep, I did it. Were you having fun? Are you fine, Crowley? Everything's good? And Crowley's like, yeah, I guess it was fun. You have the human side of things that's full of all these secrets and lies built around it. And then you have these two vampires that are just like, did you betray me? Yeah. Are you okay? I guess so. Yeah. And so he's like, you should thank me. And so he's like, so it was you. And he's like, well, I'm just one part of it, but there was another puppeteer that was in charge of everything too. And yeah, Crowley's like, okay, well then who's the other puppeteer? I've been trying to figure it out this whole time. And he's like, who is it? And then just out of nowhere, he's like, oh, him. Guren. I feel like that's the end of a chapter that when you find out it was him, you'd be like, oh, okay, it was Guren this whole time. Yeah, but it's very Attack on Titan. They just come out and they're like, oh, that's it. That's a traitor. And then and the way that he lifts him up, like it shows his neck stretching. The animation's really good in this episode. And he's like, do you want to die that badly? And then, oh my God, Guren's expressions. I want to take a picture of them. They're great. And he just spits on him. It's great. The vampire's like, really? Oh my God. Guren. And the vampire just slams him down. And like, that would kill a regular human, but Guren's per demon. I like Krul's like, hey, don't kill him. Like she looks over. That should be enough. And he tries to say Shinjuku, and the other vampires had enough. He's like, nope, you're dead. I'm going to kill you. And then the penguin over here is like, wait, let him talk. And he's like, nope, he's half demon. And Crowley's like, what? He's just a step away from becoming a complete demon. Every day he goes back and forth between two personalities. And Ferid just says this like it's the easiest thing. He knows it. Yep. One is an idealist who wants to save his men and his friends. So that's the Guren that we see on a good day, is the idealist. And then we cut to him with Mahiru, and the other is a perfectionist. Because she's like, you've had enough, Guren. And him seeing her, asking him to surrender. And he's like, shut up. Yep. You don't even have enough strength to push me away. Like having his head in her lap. Oh, I love it. And then just the twinkle in his eyes. Yeah, he did love her. Okay. And yeah, the other is a perfectionist who's possessed by his dead ex-girlfriend and becoming a demon. And her like going to kiss him. Oh, and covering his eyes. Oh my God. Oh. It's so good. The monster's coming out. Okay. And then, yeah. Touch me with your dirty feet and I'll kill you. Like, Guren looking so creepy with the red purple eyes. Oh. And then using the sword to kill the vampire. And the sword floating above him. Oh my God, yeah. And the demon spirit coming out of the sword. Oh my God. Oh, I love it. God, I love that image too. Yep, going to get the screenshot of that as well. Yep. Oh, I love it. Okay. A little more. There's so many good shots of Guren in this episode. So many good shots of Guren. And they're like, what the heck is this business? And then Krul's like, oh, so you're the guy. Cool. So I'm guessing Ferid has told her about it, or she's figured it out. That shot where he just zooms on and like gets under her, the fudge, that's terrifying. But she is terrifying because she can take him on. Yeah, and she, oh man. And she orders them not to kill Guren. You're Mahiru Haragi's messenger. Where is she? So that's interesting. So Krul thought that Mahiru was still alive. And that Guren was her messenger. Okay. So she thought, so Ferid lied to her then. Ferid lied to her, and she thought that Mahiru was going to help lead them back to you and the others. And it's like Mahiru is dead. And Krul's like, that's not what we agreed on. Krul's like, nope, don't like that. That's not the deal we agreed on. I made a deal with Mahiru Haragi before the world collapsed. So back before all this, if she's not here, I'm not joining hands. Okay, so there was possibly a thing with Mahiru and Krul, which ties, I guess, to Shinoa helping Mika in a way. So that's interesting. I want more backstory on Mahiru and Krul. I want that backstory. Okay, let's find out what's going on there. And he's like, then kill me. That's right, you can't. Okay, because you've already betrayed your people enough where you can't go back. He's like, no, you've got too far with the Seraph of the End. You can't turn back now. You're like Kureto. Kureto's betrayed his family so much and you've betrayed yours. You guys have got to go through with it now. Oh my God. You need the Seraph of the End experiment to succeed today. Oh, I love she just punches Guren. I love that face. Continue your act, Krul Tepes. Oh my God. It's just all the actors and everything. It's so good. God, this is great. I love it. I can't wait to get to this in the manga. The testing site is at the airport. But that's the thing. Guren wanted them to go to the airport in the first place. And so him laughing, it's like, it's all just coming together. Oh my God. Just ridiculous. And Crowley's like, I don't know if I want to go here. I feel like Crowley and Ferid are going to be like, yeah, we're not going to that business. We choose to stay home. And he's like, what's about to start? I do think it is a little cheesy, the transformation of the world. That's such a cheesy line. Such a very manga line. It feels like the end of a chapter line for a manga. It definitely does, interestingly enough. Yeah, or like the segue point, right? But so then I'm glad Yoichi didn't. Maybe it was better if Yoichi had fired the chopper out of the sky, right? Thinking that it was the vampires. That might have been a better idea. Should have done that, Yoichi. Hindsight's 2020. But then yeah, everybody's showing up from Kureto's squad, showing up here with the creepy Connex box, the train cart that has the sister. It's so funny because in this world building. Oh, we also find out that Aoi, not Aoi, or maybe it is Aoi, one of the two names, that she is Mitsuba's sister. I don't know if we got that revealed earlier on, but she's Mitsuba's sister. Good to know. She also seems to not like Mitsuba, so that explains a lot of kind of Mitsuba's character and that feeling of like that inferiority complex comes from her sister. Nice. No wonder her and Shinoa get along so well. They both have siblings that are garbage. Awesome. And yeah, and Shinoa's just like, girl, I know how you feel. My family's messed up too. I like that a lot of these characters have never seen Kureto before. That's so interesting. Like Yoichi and Kimizuki don't even know he's the head of the Kureto family or the second in line after the dad, after old daddy Hiragi. They don't even know who Kureto is. Yoichi and Kimizuki only know him as the guy who tortured us, and Narumi and them seem like they've never met him before. So it's funny that only the top brass, literally Shinya and Guren, have met Kureto. Interesting. And well, Shinoa, but that's because they're related. He said she's technically a Hiragi. Interesting. Like, she's not in spirit, but by blood. So yeah, what I was going to say is I like in this world that we have like, you know, in some anime in this post-apocalyptic world, there's still this amazing technology, but here in this world, they still use things that are like still left over and surrounding, like using like a Connex box, a railway cart, like a freight box to like house Kimizuki's sister in. Like, it's not anything fancy or like some fancy metallic shiny pot. It's literally like a transport box for goods. It's very, very simple, but it makes sense in the world that they're living in. The family that rules the demon army. Yep. That's the head of it, right? And everybody's like, isn't Kureto Hiragi, the rumor is he's the next family head. I'm pretty sure that's his main goal. And Narumi's like, oh, it's you, huh? And he's like, thanks for completing the mission. Today we'll have total victory against the vampires on the Demon Moon Company's sacrifice. So he didn't lie to any of them. He didn't lie. He was like, you guys just take it easy. We're just going to do a little sacrifice. It's no big deal. Everything's fine. We'll take it from here. You can disarm and get comfortable because you're all about to die. Like, he didn't lie to any of them, I guess. There's that silver lining. Are we saved? The one guy asks if we're saved, and Shisaku, that was the guy that died, the other guy that died, Shisaku. But Shinoa's like, no, get ready to fight. My brother's garbage. This is not good. This is really bad. I like Shinoa knows what's up. Yeah, she doesn't trust him. And so then, yeah, Shinya, we now know is not the traitor, is like, total victory. The nobles are headed this way. How is this a total victory? This is bad. How are you planning on winning against all these nobles? And then he's like, oh, Shinya, sweet brother. And Shinya didn't even know about the plan. I feel so bad for suspecting him. I feel so bad. He's like, where's Guren? Yeah, so Kureto asks where Guren is. And Shinya's like, oh, he was captured by the vampires. And Kureto's like, you're joking. He's like, well, is he an idiot? Which personality was he? And Shinya, or is he trying to conspire against me as well? And Shinya's like, wait, what? And he's like, you still don't know about it? Like, even the sister of Mitsuba knows about it. So Kureto knew going into this that Guren was partially possessed by a demon and it was getting worse to the point where he had multiple personalities. He knew about it. And he still let him go into battle, thinking that he'd oust him. So Kureto is going to try to push this on Guren and saying, oh, look, Guren betrayed us. We've got to kill him. I'm sure Kureto knows about the vampires, too, at this point. I'm sure Guren has been leaking information to Kureto as well as to Ferid. So it's just this, God. Yeah, and then poor Shinya, he's like, what are you talking about? And he's like, oh, he protected you and didn't tell you that he's being possessed by a demon. You're a close friend. And Shinya's like, what are you talking about? And he's like, shut up now. You have no part to play in this. Kureto's like, no, done talking, done monologuing. Let's do it, owie. Owie, okay. She's like, sir. So yeah, what I do appreciate in all of this is that Kureto's like, I'm not going to do the villain monologuing. Nope, let's just get down to business and start this shit. And then owie, get it over. And the troops that are with him know what's up and what's happening. And they've all drank the Kool-Aid and they're like, it's for the sake of destroying the vampires and all the mist and stuff. It's so creepy. The mist bringing out this freight box with all the like tassels and everything on it. He's like, what is that? He says, I said you have no part to play. And he's like, what are you planning on doing? And Aoi like goes to stop him. I love that Narumi stands up too. And he's like, who are you? I told you to disarm. Those are my orders. Like, just... And Narumi's like, I don't listen to you. Like, it all falls into chaos, right? And then all of his team are holding him back, telling him to calm down. And then they, like, raise up these scepters that look like they're going to, like, channel all this energy. And there's all of these talismans. Shinoa's like, this is bad. Like, they're going to just channel all this energy. I'm curious to know the hooks that are all connected that come out of the Connex box, the hooks that come all out. What was the point of stabbing all of the demon army members? What was the point of stabbing them all? It's just, ugh. He's like, don't bother. You can't protect him. Oh. He's like, we were just in a kill or to be killed situation behind enemy lines. If the mission's over, let us go. And he's like, and overlook his rebellious attitude. I love it. He's like, Shinya, this guy is being rebellious. He needs to be punished. And Shinya's like, well, damn it. And he's like, forget about it. I'm in a good mood. Oh, Oh, and Shinya's like, really? You're never in a good mood. And that's when he says, besides, he's going to die soon anyway. You all are. They're all being sacrificed. And you know what's funny? You know what's funny about this? The box opening up. The box opening up to reveal the sister inside, it's the same kind of mechanism as Kimizuki's special ability. His ability is the coffin opening up, and then the demon comes out from the coffin. This is just paralleling it. Like, what the hell? And then, yeah, these weird hook things. They're like just arrows and stuff that are all connected together by hooks. That are like sentient, that she's controlling. So I'm like, what's the point of killing all the demon army members? Is it like they need like the blood for the sacrifice? They need the blood of both humans that have the demon, like the demons inside of them, along with, oh damn, well, Inoue's dead. She got pierced through the heart. It's just Narumi. Rika's dead. And then, God, the moment that Shusaku turns around and tells him to run away, the animation on his face, oh my God, it was good. And they just like, oh, they just overkill. What the hell? And poor Narumi. Oh, his voice actor has a habit of playing like survivors of traumatic situations. So, oh my God. Getting Attack on Titan flashbacks, definitely, with his voice actor. And then like he tries to take on Kureto and it's nothing. Like it's nothing. He's like, this is an honorable death for the advancement of humanity. He's like, this experiment will save countless citizens. This is justice. Like, he's so consumed with the idea that he's doing the right thing. Oh my gosh. And then Shinya and Shinoa coming in to protect him. Oh my gosh. But yeah, it's Kimizuki and Yoichi that protects Narumi first. I'm like, and Kimizuki has no clue what's in the box still. I'm like, once he figures out it's his sister, what are we going to do, right? Oh my God. So I don't know exactly. And then Shinoa steps in. We need to disengage. And he's like, don't fight it, Shinoa. I'll let you live since you're technically a Haragi. And she's like, ugh. She's like, no. He's like, then die. Oh my God. And that's when Yu comes in. Yes. So glad that Yu comes in. I was like, I didn't know if Yu and Mika were going to show up this episode or not. I'm like, either they're going to show up in the last episode or right at the end. But they come in with Mika. Yes, sir. So yeah, I don't know exactly what the point of the hooks with the arrows are unless they're to like get a blood sacrifice from both humans and vampires. I don't know yet. I guess we'll find out next episode. I don't want to know yet. But then everybody's like, oh, it's you. And he's like, you're here. And Yu's like, oh, hey, you okay, Shinoa? I just got to make the bad boy hero entrance, right? And she's like, yes, but it was close. And then I love that Mika instantly is like, we shouldn't have come here. I love that Mika's like, why are we here? We shouldn't have come. See how bad this is? Humans attacking humans. Look, see all the bad things? We should have just left them. I love Mika so grumpy. And Yu's like, no, I'm glad we came because we're going to save everybody. Yeah, oh my God, like all of them being dead. He's like, no, I'm glad we came to see this. And then Yu just confronting Kureto, being like, what the hell are you doing to my comrades? And he's like, oh, the black demon kid under Guren. Interesting. And she's like, do it. I like that Aoi says do it. Like, what the hell? Like, she's like in with the container. And so they shoot the container. But yeah, whatever is in it is about to come out and it's the sister. And I don't, Yeah, the fact that they're making it a mystery, they're like, what exactly is that thing? Like, we don't know what the sister is going to look like from inside the box. Is it still going to look like his sister? Is he going to know that it's his sister? We're going to find out next episode. I don't know if I can wait. But Yu's like, it doesn't matter what it is. It's coming to kill us. We need to get away from it. And so I love that they all are fighting whatever this is. And she's like, okay, let's get out of here. And Mika's like, yeah, Shinoa has wise words. Let's go. And then when Kureto had the wide eyes, I thought for a second he had the wide eyes at Mika, realizing he was a vampire. But no, Mika realizes at the exact same time that all the vampires are showing up. Conveniently. Fun times. And they all just like pop out with like parachutes. And then there's the penguin one there with the cane. Who? What? It's fascinating. And so he like moves them all towards the humans to attack them. And Kureto's like, we're going to extinguish the vampires right here and right now. I don't think Kureto knows what Guren's role in all this is. I think he's been suspect of him this whole time, like we should have been. But I don't think he knows exactly what Guren was up to. But he's like, now we're going to fight the vampires and get whatever's in the box to come out. So that's exciting. And I like that he was like, what should I do? And Shinya says, don't panic. This is a great opportunity. He's like, right, we're not the targets anymore. During this confusion, we can get out. I like that Shinya, and nobody questions Mika at this point. They're like, there's too much batshit bonkers stuff going on. Mika is the least of our worries. That's what I was worried about. I worried when they showed back up together that everybody would be like, there's a vampire, kill it. No, there's too much insanity going on that Mika is not of concern. And plus, you can't see his ears. So how do they know he's a vampire other than his eyes? He's like, you kids go ahead and run. And yeah, Goshi and Mito and Shiguri and Sayuri say that they're going to stay back and help. Oh. He's like, you guys. And Narumi's the only one left of his squad. He's like, I'll clear the way. Let's go. But yeah, all of Guren's team is there. Like, they're going to see him like this. It's not going to be good. But yeah, Yu's just slicing through the vampires as they're attacking the humans. Mika is attacking the vampires, but Mika can't kill them. So what is he going to do? He's like, I'm never going to let anyone else die. It's like, oh, honey. And then, of course, Kimizuki's like, you got too far away from everybody. Stay closer. And as he's asking them to move, there's Guren by the damn chopper. And, Yu's face when he sees Guren. No. He's like, oh, you're all right, Guren. No. And he, like, runs towards him in slow motion. And Guren, like, with the big, thick neck, like the antagonist's neck, just being like, I'm glad to see you're okay. Oh, no. I feel like Mika's going to step in. Mika's going to step in and save him, or Shinya is, or somebody. But damn it, they would cut it right there. They would cut it right there. How dare they? Wow. Okay. I don't think I can wait very long to watch the season finale, but I do want to try to catch up in the manga. So I'm going to wait and try to read more manga chapters and catch up and try to catch up and see where that goes and do that. But then hopefully by the time I can catch up to where the events of this episode happen, before jumping into the final episode. Oh my gosh, y'all. This is just insanity, but I love it. But it's insanity. So I don't want to be spoiled. I'm trying to avoid any spoilers at all costs, but I'm so curious to know your thoughts down below. Did you suspect Guren this whole time? How do you feel about Shinya not, as of right now, being the traitor? I'm curious to know your thoughts down below. But yeah, this episode was great. So I hope y'all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe. Take care. And yeah, I'll be back next week with the season finale of the anime of Seraph of the End. Bye.